So it's the end of week 2. I've just finished my big long run of this week, which was 14k. So it was a bit longer than I should have, but I've entered a half marathon next weekend. So I was sick in the middle of the week, so I had to skip one of my run sessions, and then I used my rest day as a run day just to make up for it. So that's one of the hard things that you have to do when you've got a full program, and also you have a normal life, like working every day. So you kind of have to fit things in around, and if you get sick, you have to look after yourself and rest as well. In winter, my hands get so cold in the because I run at sunrise and it's often like 6 degrees or something, that they go so dry, they split. So I don't know if you can see there, it's all split open and gross. So I have to try and wear long sleeve tops with thumb holes or even gloves. But yeah, sometimes I forget. Why is it important to get fitted for sneakers early on?
Yeah, so I think the most important thing to consider is comfort. So when you're training for the marathon, city surf, a half marathon, you're spending a lot of time on your feet, so you want to be really comfortable. So when you do go and get fitted for a pair of running shoes, listen to yourself. Don't listen to what your friends or your relatives or your training buddies are saying. You're the one who knows what's comfortable for you. So really make sure you feel really locked into the shoe. Your toes aren't banging against the end there, but the underfoot sensation just feels really nice. It feels really nice from the first kilometre all the way through to the last kilometre. But with any running shoe, it does take a small braking period, but it should feel great really much from the beginning. Last thing you don't want to do is buy a pair of new shoes the day before a race. Yes. That's one thing we recommend, but make sure you are comfortable in what you are going to be wearing for race day.
So how long before a race should you break in a pair of shoes that you're going to be running in on race day?
If you're going to have a special pair of shoes on race day, I'll probably use it 2 or 3 times before a race, like if it's a lightweight or a racing flat. If you're going to be wearing a standard training shoe for race day, probably like 4 to 6 weeks before the race. One thing that we focus on at Nike is having different underfoot cushioning systems for different types of running. So a Pegasus, which is really responsive, gives a little bit more snap for your faster running. We have a technology called Luna, which is really soft and spongy, so just gives you a bit more protection for your longer running. And then Nike Free, which is a little bit more flexible, just helps with your recovery running if you want to do some running technique and stuff like that. So we know different runners like to have different sensations under their foot. They don't always want to have the same feeling when they're going out for that run, because running's a very repetitive motion. Yeah. And if you can change the sensation or the feeling you have below your foot, it just helps you get through your run and helps keep you injury free.
Preparing for a marathon, I guess, one thing I learned last time I did one was it's really important to get your gear early on and get used to running in it so that you know how comfortable you're going to be.
Get used to what you're going to be running in, but also get used to what you're going to feel really great running a long distance in. Yeah. The mesh paneling behind the knee there just tries to keep you a little bit more comfortable, a little bit lighter, reducing the amount of sweat. Between tights and shorts, it's very much a preference, but at the end of the day, make sure you've tested the product you're going to be racing in well before race day.
I get really bad dry hands from the cold from running, and I find that these things, the best thing about layering is getting long top with thumb holes so that you can actually cover your hands when you're running, and it just keeps everything warm. And you were saying something about hands and...
Yeah, absolutely. So a couple of easy tips for your runners. If your hands are warm and your head's warm, the rest of your body is going to stay fairly warm, and you don't have to wear too many bulky clothes to keep your body warm. So a really good pair of lightweight running gloves and a hat like you run in, or a light running beanie can do wonders, especially in these cold winter mornings and nights. And then a long sleeve tee is really all you need to keep the rest of your body warm. A pair of shorts, a pair of tights, whatever you find comfortable.